Hello, everyone. Nice full house. First and foremost, welcome everyone to Talking Art in Maine. I'm thrilled to be interviewing Jane Dahmen, one of my favorite artists. As many of you know, she was the original creator of Talking Art in Maine, and she ran this series for 13 years, interviewing luminaries such as Alex Katz, Lois Dodd, Kathy Bradford, among many others. She also happens to be my mom. Yeah. And it took quite a bit of convincing to get her to be interviewed. So anyway, while some artists find a groove in one particular style and stick with that throughout their entire career, Jane finds inspiration in variety, experimenting and weaving back and forth between abstraction and realism, allowing the two to deepen and inform one another. I believe the unifying theme in her work is a joyful, deeply felt celebration of the good life, filled with color, beauty, connection, and perhaps an implied bit of luxury, whether at home, abroad, or in her imagination. And I just wanted to read this wonderful quote from Boston Globe art critic and author Miles Unger about Mom's work. So he says, "When some people hear the term modern art, they think of something difficult, of unyielding geometric shapes, of dour abstraction that resists interpretation. But Jane Dahmen has followed another branch of modernism, one that descends from Matisse and Dufy and is colorful, exuberant, and accessible. This is the kind of art that can give pleasure to many. Color and line are applied with great elan to achieve paintings of deceptive simplicity. Dahmen's deft handling creates joyful images that are a feast for the senses." So Jane's bio, I think, was handed out at the door. In a nutshell, her work is in public and private collections in the US and internationally. One of her paintings hung in the White House. Graphique de France distributed several of her works internationally, and in Maine, her work has been shown in many galleries and museums, including Greenhut, CMCA, Gleason, Courthouse, and she's currently represented by the Portland Art Gallery in Portland. And Jane's next show at Portland Art Gallery will be this November, right before the holidays, how convenient. And she and I will be in a group show together called Song of the Wild at Maine Art Gallery in Wiscasset, which actually opens next week on the 20th. So be sure to check that out too. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's give Jane/Mom a warm Talking Art in Maine welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Em.
Okay, so let's go to, this is called Midcoast Fall. This was painted this year, and many of your paintings have an uplifting quality to them. So do you try to make uplifting paintings, or is it more that you're aiming for aesthetic charm and then the uplift is just kind of a unintended side product?
Yeah, I really don't try to make it look that way. I just paint what's in here. Whoops. Sorry. I try to keep my mind out of my work, and you know, when I first started, I thought it looked too happy all the time. And I really tried to change it, but I couldn't. So I just thought, okay, I'll go with what I'm doing. So.
Very good. Okay, so this next one is called Fall Birches. And these first two you saw are going to be in the exhibit that we're in starting next week at Maine Art Gallery. So I really love the way you take elements of abstraction and realism and you combine them in such a beautiful, artful way in these images. If you look at the branches, and I don't know, there's like a simplicity and a complexity to it all at once. Very beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What'd you say?
There's a heart.
There is?
Oh, yeah, right.
That's good.
Right
That's
there.
good. Yeah.
Look at that. Cool. Okay. So you are known as the Birch Lady, having sold many paintings of birches to collectors all over the world. So what appeals to you about birches?
Oh, I love birches. Well, first of all, I love the white bark, and I love the lenticels, the black marks on the white. And I just love the way they look against green trees. I love trees of all kinds, but they're so pretty, and when they bloom, like in the spring, they look pretty against the yellow blooms too. They are pretty against everything, and they're just so famous all over the world, birches. I mean, and they're very durable. They actually take in carbon dioxide and they remit oxygen, if you can believe it. They're good for the environment. And they're very durable, flexible. In a bad storm, many trees break, but they fall over, and then when the storm's over, they come back up. And I love that about them. They're symbolic for their resilience all over the world. And as you know, Native Americans make birch bark canoes. They make huge, beautiful baskets, and they make places to live in because these trees are so flexible and durable. So I love them.
Very cool. Okay. This is called A Fleeting Moment, and this is actually currently on display at the Painted Fiction Show, which was curated by Barbara Sullivan at Colby College's Taconic Gallery in Waterville. I think that's up for a few more days, right? Yeah.
How big is this?
Oh, this particular, how big is this one? It's, you know, it's like that.
It's probably 30 by 40 or something like that.
Yeah. So this painting is a bit more abstract than some of the other ones that we're seeing in this first chunk of paintings. So do you know when you start a landscape that it's going to be abstract, or does that just happen on its own?
Oh, it happens on its own. I mean, I'm I'm not thinking about things. Again, I'm just painting what feels good, and then I often stop looking at it and put it aside when I think it's done. So then in 3 days, if I look at it again and I think it needs some more work, then I work on it some more. But I try to stop when it's finished, you know, because I have overdone things, and then I have to go back and try to get back to where I was originally.
An oil?
These are all acrylics.
Acrylic.
Yeah, I started with oils early on, but I thought it was healthier to paint with acrylic, so it took me 3 years to really change from oil to acrylic. But I love acrylics, and now they're man-made. They're beautiful colors. You can get everything you want. Going to the art store is like going to a candy shop. You know, you just see all this new stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah, acrylics have come a long way. I like them too. They're totally fun to paint with, and you don't have to wait as long for them to dry.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let us move along to Hurricane Island. This is a diptych. This is 60 by 60, and this was painted this year. So color is very important to you. Can you tell us how you get these rich greens and blues?
Oh, I just mix the colors. I mean, if I really like a color, every painting is different, but if I've started with the sky and I think that there should be more blue in the green, then I have little glass jars that I mix the paint in. And sometimes I do it wrong and I have to redo it, but yeah, there's lots of different colors of green.
So you're not layering it, you're just...
Oh, I don't layer it, no.
Okay.
No. Well, I do if I have to change it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I paint over it.
And what kind of paints do you like to use?
All acrylics.
Yeah.
I paint with French flash. I paint with fluorescent, I think they call it, because now you can buy that in the paint store. And, well, I love all kinds of different paints. There are reds that are made by, I think it's France makes the one I buy. Some are made in other countries, but I get used to the colors that I like, and so that's what I do. Unfortunately, the paint store in Portland just closed, so now I've been buying through Bliss, but Bliss, you can't look at the paint, you know, you have to just take a chance, and not as fun.
On something that's more representational like this, do you sketch it out first, or do you just?
Well, actually, this one was taken, I took a picture. I was up on Hurricane Island, I took a picture, and I loved the look of the colors weren't like this, but it was much grayer. But it's a beautiful island. I don't know if you've been at it, but it used to be where they sold granite early on in Maine. And then when other materials came up and they weren't selling the granite, they left the island. But it's full of this beautiful granite, you know, everywhere. And anyway, I took a picture of it and I brought it home. And I do this often. If I like the picture, I blow it up and I start the painting with the picture, and then I throw the picture out and I finish it the way I want to do it.
Okay.
Was that your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, this is Maine Island Wilderness. This is another diptych, I think, yes.
Yeah, I paint on two 36 by 60 inch canvases now, and I put them both together. So these are two canvases, but I used to paint on doors. I have hundreds of historical books of painters because I was a history major at Colby, and I love to read about them all. And I was reading about Willem de Kooning, and he said he painted on doors. And I thought, doors? What does he do? What does he paint on? And so one day I was at Home Depot, and they were having a sale in the door department, and I went in and I looked. There was a 36 by 60 inch door, and it looked like what Willem de Kooning, the shape of his paintings. And so I bought 6 of them, and they put them on the top of my car, and I brought it home. And I got into my studio, and I looked at one, but I thought, you know, that just isn't the shape that I like to paint on. So I put 2 together, and for the next 10 years, I painted so many paintings with the 2 doors. And then I could put one door into my car and put the others on top and take them all down to the gallery. It made it very easy. Otherwise, I had to, you know, if you make anything bigger, a what?
What door? I mean,
They're hollow core. Yeah,
Yeah, are they made out of what wood?
birch. They have like a birch veneer, yeah.
That's it, yeah. You have to put gesso, of course, on it, but you do that on a canvas anyway.
But the great thing is they're already square. So, you know, you don't have to do all that crazy stuff with like when you're stretching canvas and it's like a little bit warped. Doors don't have that problem, the hollow core.
No, they stay in the very shape that they're in. And also, it's wood, so when you paint on it, it doesn't soak up the paint. And I loved that when I first started painting. And now that I use canvas, it's very different because the canvas can soak in the paint, but I like it. I've gotten used to it. This is on canvas, actually.
Okay.
And this one, I don't know what's on. I think it's on canvas also.
Yeah, I think that's a canvas one. Okay, you've said that your ideas begin in the natural world, but once a work is underway, the paint itself on the flat surface takes on a life of its own. So you were kind of talking about that a minute ago, but like how does that transition happen between kind of like looking at a picture, kind of working from there, and then taking off and it just kind of goes into magic inner world?
Well, you said it better than I can, I think. I think that's a good way to describe it. I mean, just as I'm working, I'm listening to music and I'm in another world and I'm painting this thing, but I'm looking at it and I'm wanting it to look good and or to feel good. And so it's hard for me to describe, but this one I worked a lot on and changed it as I worked on it. But I liked it when it finished. But anyway.
So yeah, it just happens on its own.
It does.
Don't overthink it.
I know.
Okay. This one's called Near Dodge Point. It's acrylic on a wood panel, 30 by 36, and Suzette McAvoy wrote of it in this article called Nature's Cathedrals. What a cool title, right? Near Dodge Point reveals Dahmen's interest in investigating not only her subject matter, but also the two-dimensionality of painting. In this work, the vertical trunks of the trees are presented close to the picture plane, creating a screen through which horizontal bands of color representing water, shoreline, and sky are glimpsed. These dominant vertical and horizontal elements create a compositional grid that compresses the depth of the scene and emphasizes the patterns made by the intertwined branches, which I think is a fancy way of saying that, that you have this really pleasing sort of combination of vertical and horizontal elements that kind of flatten things a little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that combination of kind of two-dimensional and three-dimensional. I don't know why, but I always have.
And in keeping, it sounds like you're not like overthinking that, it's just happening for you.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm not doing it on purpose, but I think when I like it, it's done. When I feel like it's done, it has those two, you know, the horizontal and the vertical.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so, this is called sumac. And this one just has such a wonderful spontaneous feel to it, like it just came through without any second guessing or doubt. So how would you describe how you painted this one?
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because I went down to the field and I saw this sumac that was growing, and it had just come out. We had put some rocks down and it was growing up out of the rocks, and it looked so unusual because sumac usually grows up high, but this one had a big branch that went out like that, and I liked the way it looked. So I took a picture of it. I came up to my studio and then I made a big enlarged picture, and I thought, I'm not going to do this right because it doesn't look like sumac. So I turned it upside down, believe it or not, and I painted it upside down because then I didn't wreck the way it actually looked. And when I turned it, I turned it around, the painting, and I thought, it does look pretty. What did you say? It was
spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
It had a look to it. That's because I painted it upside down. I had to change some things on the bottom of it, but I liked it.
Yeah, that came out awesome. All right, this is Maine Fall. This is another diptych on doors. You've said that no matter what mood you're in when you enter the studio, you often leave feeling much better.
Right, even if I haven't done good artwork, I feel better just because I've been doing something that I love. And I often go in there feeling and I come out and I feel so much better. It's just like, I don't know, it does something to my head.
Okay, this is called Abandoned Field. This will be in the Maine Art Gallery show coming up.
This one is huge.
Yeah.
It's 108 inches by 72.
Yeah. It's a triptych, or as Dad called them, three bangers.
He did.
Yeah, that one took some time for you to...
Well, this is a very, very old painting that I did years ago, and you wanted to put it in the show, so I worked on it again and made it work. But I like it. It's a wild, you know, I saw it as a wild field with old birches in it, and all the grasses and everything was so pretty.
So, doing something like this is a lot of hours. So what do you typically listen to in your studio to get your mind out of painting?
Oh gosh, everything. I mean, I listen to books on tape, but I love music, and I listen to every kind of music. Willie Nelson, Beethoven, Mozart, Cyndi Lauper, Bad Bunny. Oh gosh, there isn't any music I don't love. And it gets into my head, which gets my head out of my art, because I'm trying to paint, whoops, I'm sorry. I'm trying to paint from inside here, not here.
John
Because,
Prine.
what?
John Prine.
John Prine, yeah.
John Prine, yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many good singers.
Yep. Okay, this is Coming Around the Cove, another diptych. This is Penobscot Bay, right? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Well, I did add some color on it, because on the land it's not quite as bright as that, but that's the color of the water.
Yes, paintings often change if they stick around in your studio. Okay, let us move along. Okay. Here we go. Okay. This is called Midcoast Birches. This is another diptych, 60 by 60. This was done this year. So this painting has a dreamy, almost spiritual quality to it, with the water blending into the sky and the many birch branches kind of pointing upwards. Did you mean for it to be dreamy, or did that one just turn, oh yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that. No, I just love birches, and I love the twigs on them, and I love them against the dark trees. So that's all I can tell you.
Okay, this is called Southern View, and if...
Oh, the colors aren't quite right in this.
Yeah.
The brown is really green in that painting, but I love doing it because I love these twiggy tops to the trees, and it's right outside my house, so, and then I could make the shadows in different colors.
So when you get stuck on a painting, when it isn't resolving, what are your tricks to resolve it when it's kind of being stubborn?
Well, if it's really stubborn, I turn it around and don't look at it for about 3 or 4 days. I work on something else. And often you can come up with something good or some change. I rarely throw things away because with acrylics, you can just white them out. So if something isn't working right, or if I'm not happy with it, I do turn it around and let it stay there until my mind changes when I look at it again. And usually I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you know when a painting is done?
Well, if I like it, if I'm happy with it, it kind of takes more than just a day or two. You have to look at it for maybe a couple of weeks before you know if it's done for my work. And if I look at it after a couple of weeks and I think it doesn't need anything, then it's done. But I have taken things too fast sometimes to the gallery, and then I have to bring it home because I look at it and I think, oh, I think I didn't quite finish that yet. So I'm trying to be careful and not let it out of my studio until it's done.
Yep. Okay. This is Winter Path. You've spent many years looking at and walking in and depicting the woods. Has that changed your perception of the woods since you started doing these kind of outdoor landscapes?
Changed my perception of the woods? No, I don't think so.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sorry. This is a place where we ski up to the, I forget what they're called, up in northern Maine. You go up and you ski in these little huts, and oh, they're lovely. And the paths to them are beautiful, and you can spend the night there, and they have food and stuff, and then you can go to the next one.
So what do you like about painting winter scenes, since you're kind of a four-season painter?
Oh, I love the snow, the colors, like the blue shadows, or you can make purple shadows or pink shadows. I mean, the shadows are beautiful. And I love that there's white on the bottom and white on the top. And I just like twigs. And so, of course, in the winter, you see a lot of twigs.
Okay. Here is a skinny vertical diptych. So you've said it is a challenge to make sense of the complexity of the woods.
Yep.
What did you mean by that, and how do you decide what goes into a painting and what gets left out?
Well, when I first was looking at the woods, your dad and I would walk in the morning, every morning before he went to work and before I went to my studio, we'd walk in the woods in Lincoln, and there was a beautiful pond there and everything. And I just loved the woods, and I thought it was very spiritual and beautiful. But I'd go back to my studio, and at that time I was painting small paintings, and I couldn't paint anything that looked like the woods. It was too complicated, and I just didn't know what to do. So some guy in my, I was in the Emerson Umbrella, which is a huge studio in Concord that a group of us, we turned over an old school building and made it into studios for artists. It's still there if you ever go to Concord. Go in and see it. It's a beautiful place. But anyway, I had a huge studio in there, and some guy was leaving, and he said, do you want this big canvas? And I said, well, no, I don't work that big, but I have room for it, so you can leave it here. So he left it there, and every day I would go in there and look at this 8-foot by 8-foot canvas, And I was painting this big. And I would think, how can anyone paint that size? But meanwhile, I'm going to the woods every day. And one day, after about a year of trying to paint the woods, I came home. I looked at that huge canvas and I thought, I could put the sky, then I could put the lake, then I could put the land right down where we walk, and then I'm going to paint some trees. And I got up on a ladder and I started painting these trees. And my God, within 2 days I had the thing done. And I liked it. And I started painting big paintings after that day. It was such a freaky thing. No, it was really funny the way it took so long. It took me long to paint water, too. We were sailing up in Maine, and I was painting these little paintings because I loved the white sails and the blue water and the green islands, and I couldn't paint the water. It just didn't look good. And it took me months before I got to paint the water. But then once I did, I was fine. And I painted hundreds of paintings of the water and the trees and the boats and it just took me a while. Who knows why?
But that's great. It's sort of like a little bit of fate for somebody to bring in such a large canvas, and then your willingness to just kind of keep trying stuff until it kind of dawned on you that you needed to paint bigger.
Yeah, I had never painted big before that, and I hadn't gotten those doors or anything before that, but that was the one thing, and I should thank that guy who left it. I don't even know who it was.
Okay, I think this is Borestone Mountain, right?
Borestone, yeah.
Okay, and I think that's gouache on paper.
It might be. It was a very early painting, yeah.
Yeah, and you've said you love painting on paper because the colors are so vibrant.
Oh, I do. I love it. But you have to frame it, everything. And so I stopped doing that when I started painting and selling paintings. I started selling painting on doors and canvases, so I didn't have to frame them.
Yeah, it's expensive doing all that. It really is. Okay. All right, so here's another gouache on paper, I believe. Yep. And wasn't this one of the first birch against sky type paintings that you did that led to a whole series?
Yeah, actually, it's birch against water.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
water.
that's all right.
That's what I meant.
But it was one of the big ones. I had done so many smaller ones, and I suddenly wanted to paint bigger. I don't know why.
You definitely like diptychs.
Well, because they're easy to move around.
Right. Very practical.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this painting qualifies as one of those ooh-ah paintings because it's just so calming and beautiful.
You know where those birches came from? They were in England at
Really?
the Tate Gallery, yeah. A friend of mine took pictures when she was at the Tate Gallery and said, I know you like birches. And I just loved the way they looked, all the black branches going across like that.
All right, let's switch gears and let's go to you had a series, the Sequestered series during COVID. Let's look at a few of those for change of scene here. So this is Sequestered 3, acrylic on canvas, 40 by 40, and you did this in 2020.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
This was called Sequestered. Actually, it was after Dad died.
Right.
And we were lucky he died before COVID so we could give him a good death.
Yeah.
And then I was alone for the first time in my house, and I would go into my studio every day, and I couldn't paint because I was mourning his death. And so I'd come out and I would, I don't know what I did all day. I didn't paint, though. And the next day I would get up. I did this for, 7 months. I couldn't paint. And then about a little bit after that, I started thinking, well, maybe I can paint now. And I went into my studio and I painted this painting, which the gallery called Sequestered. I don't think they wanted to call it Mourning, because they probably wouldn't have sold it. But that was the first painting I did. It was of me drinking coffee by myself. Then I made a painting of me watching the news in the morning all by myself with my slippers on. And then I did another one. Did you have the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, having a glass of wine, you can see it in the left-hand corner. by myself in my living room. And then I was over the morning, and I felt so good. And then I made a painting of some trees, and Joey, your brother, came in and he said, Mom, I had put 2 birds over and I had never painted so many, just a few birds. He said, that's you and Dad, those birds.
Wow.
So that was pretty cute.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch gears again now, and we're going to look at a couple of your Tuscan paintings, because you did a massive number of Tuscan paintings, so we would be remiss if we didn't look at a few of those.
Yeah, we went to Tuscany early on. I had painted some paintings of Maine, but we went for a couple of weeks and we lived in Bon Convento in this wonderful animal barn where the animals used to live in the bottom, and the people who owned the animals would live upstairs. And it was owned by a concert pianist who had a piano up there, and he would practice. But it had all these windows, and you could look out, and the views were spectacular. I mean, all I could think of when I was there was it looked like stripes and dots. And the stripes were the vineyards, and the dots were the olive trees.
Yeah.
And the dirt is sort of a reddish color, unlike what it is here, which is really brown, as you know. And all the beautiful trees that go up the hills, and then those pretty yellow stucco homes with the red roofs. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. I fell in love with it. And I'll bet I painted 100 of those paintings and sold them all down in Massachusetts at the Courthouse Gallery.
Yeah.
I just loved doing it. And these were all small, and they were all framed. They were about this big. This is before I did any. You've got them going backward now.
A little.
This is the beginning of my career, actually.
Yeah. I like this one because you've got a picture within a picture there, looking out at the...
Oh, yeah, that's Tuscany.
Yeah, looking up there at the outside, but it's kind of like a picture within one.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did these. Yeah, we are kind of hopping around a little bit, Here we go.
That's okay.
So then you were painting more of these images in Maine post-Tuscany. So here's a outdoor lunch, peaceful outdoor lunch. Yeah. And
I think there was water in just about every single painting. Somebody said that, and I said, I don't think so, but I think it's true.
Yep, and then we go inside. Here's several of...
Oh yeah, I did a lot of interiors for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just had fun doing them.
And these also have that picture within a picture kind of thing going on, which is really cool. So just sounds like a lunch I would want to go to, that's for sure.
These were...
Like 2000, wouldn't you say?
Oh, God, I have to think. When did we move to Maine?
Well, when we were looking at these, they were marked around 2000.
Okay, well, you probably know better than I do.
We looked at a lot of negatives that had dates on the envelope, so that's why I'm not calling out the titles of these, because I'm not quite sure.
I have not been great at taking care and saving all these things in a good way. I should have, but I just didn't.
Well, you sold them all. That's the thing, is that you're
But I could have had pictures of them.
Yeah, that's true. But like all of these went to different people's homes. Look at this cool one. I love this thing. So neat. So just while we're on these, like you've been painting professionally now for 40 plus years. So what's the
50.
50 plus years, right? What is the greatest gift that art has given you?
Oh my gosh. Good question. I mean, it's just made me love my life. I mean, I get up and I love to paint. And I mean, I loved having you kids. I loved being married. I loved having a garden. But what I really made me happiest inside was painting.
Yeah.
And so I started early on, and Dad was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, the first gallery I ever got into was because of him, because he bought a computer before anybody had them. And he said, Jane, we need a mailing list. And I said, well, what do you mean? Who do we put on it? And he said, well, we put the family on it first. Everyone we know. And then we put your friends on it. And then anybody who's interested in the artwork, we put on it. And so we went to the first gallery. A friend of mine said, I have a gallery in Connecticut and they might be interested in your work. So I went down with him and he brought the computer and the mailing list. And I know the reason they took me in was because Joe had this computer and a mailing list. The guy was impressed with Joe. Totally. So I stayed up until 3 o'clock every morning for the next 3 weeks before the first show because I was scared to death that I had to do something good. Luckily, I sold a few, so I stayed in it for a few years. But he's the one who got me in it. But anyway, he was very helpful, and he wanted me to go to my studio, especially if he could tell I was in a bad mood. Go to your studio. It was very helpful.
Well, you're also being very modest because your work really is great. So, I mean, that's, the mailing list helped, but let's face it, the work was great too. Okay, now we are going to meander further into some abstract work. So, as I said in the beginning of this, you've ventured into various different realms.
Yeah, this was a long time ago, but
yeah.
I love it. I love abstract work, and especially if I've been doing more realistic work, it kind of gives me some freedom. And then when I go back to the more realistic work, I think it helps because it makes it less realistic maybe, or something. It gives more freedom.
Yeah, I sort of was dubbing these ones like interior landscapes, sort of they're landscapes of the mind's eye almost or something.
Well, I get really weird, like this one. And I never sold this one because I really like it. And what I did was, you aren't going to believe this, I probably told you this.
Yeah.
I put your name, E-M-I-L-Y, and then I put Joey's name with chalk, J-O-E-Y, because I love my kids. And then I just take the paint and I do stuff with it around those letters that I've put on the, and you can see some of the letters still. You can see some of the E, you can see the I, you can see, I don't know, you can just see some of them. Some of them aren't there because I paint them out, but that's how I start. It's totally intuitive. Got nothing to do with anything except freedom and happiness and color. And it sort of helps me when I go back to my other work because it gives me more freedom. Freedom is a big thing when you paint, I think.
I did it my way.
Yeah, right.
Okay, here's another beauty.
This is another kind of weirdie. And I've done a lot of, this is in my studio actually. I do this from time to time just because I love to do stuff that's weird. It's got no meaning except to me, and I don't even know what it means all the time. Sometimes later I look at it and I think, oh, maybe I know that's the sun in the middle, but I don't know what that red thing is so much. So, but it makes me happy. Oh, I love this one. I sold this one, and this was a big one. I just thought it looked like the universe that we don't know, and I don't know.
I love that your followers and collectors have gone with you through your whole journey too. I mean, you have collectors that have bought some of your more realistic work, and then they've got the really abstract stuff.
Well, not exactly. I think
No?
most of the people who buy the realistic stuff probably don't buy the abstract stuff. I don't know that for sure, but I think, if you buy this one, maybe you wouldn't be so attracted to some of the other ones.
But they seem to come to your openings and stuff. That's what I noticed. You've got repeat customers, as it were. Let's see. Look at that cool one.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I know where that is. That was years ago at the Powers Gallery.
Yep. Okay.
Oh yeah, I like this one.
You still have this one.
I never sold this one. I had this over my bed, but then I thought, if it ever fell, it would kill me. It's a great big thing. Oh, there's another one, yeah. And, oh, that's a small one. I still have that one. I didn't know if it was finished, but I think it is. But I really like it. And I don't know what it is. That yellow thing is kind of a person. Oh, and I always like those, what would you call them?
Like train tracks?
Train tracks.
Yeah, I noticed they're in a lot of them.
I know, I don't know why, but I like them.
Well, maybe motion, you know?
Something, yeah.
Traveling, motion, I don't know. Okay, so if we lost any of you guys on the abstract stuff, we'll rein you back in with something a little more realistic. This is Lily in the living room, and you've done a lot of versions of this, of your living room with flowers in there. So I think I know the answer to this, but is it ever hard for you to let go of a painting when it sells?
No. I mean, I love it if somebody really likes it. It makes me feel good.
Okay, and another question, since this is the last painting here. If you could give a piece of advice to aspiring artists, what would it be?
Good question. Well, if it's a young person, I would definitely tell them to go to art school. Art school is wonderful. I never went, but I know most of them are good because they get you to get your inside out, and it's all good. If you're a little older and you don't want to go to art school, I say to people, you are so unique. There are so many people in this world. How many millions of thousands of millions of people live on this planet? And no two people are alike in here. They are in here. A lot of them are very similar here, but not here. Everybody is unique. There's no two people alike. So you're trying to, if you want to do art, you're trying to show who you are inside. So first you might look at some work that you like and you could copy it. And I know people say, oh, you shouldn't copy art. Well, yes, you should. If you like it, you might learn something. And you're not going to do what the other person did anyway. And then I would say you just keep at it and you never give up. And you try to, like I do in my studio, listen to something that takes your mind out of the art, because you want your heart and soul in the art. That's what you're looking for.
Great advice. Yeah? Okay, I promised you I'd ask you this question. Would you tell everyone how your Teal Island painting ended up in the White House?
Oh, well, yeah, it's funny, actually. I did a group of paintings for a guy named Michael Dingman, who lived up on an island in Maine, and I was in the Greenhut Gallery at the time, and he kept calling me, and I told the gallery, I don't want to do it if he calls me. I can't do it if I listen to him. So they said, please don't call her. She's weird, but she'll do it if you just don't call her. So he said, okay. So I went up there, and I was doing these paintings, and I saw his boat coming. You know, I was with Joe, my husband, and I said, Joe, we got to get out of here because this is I know it's the Dingmans. So we took off, and I called the gallery. I said, I'm done. I'm not doing it. Anyway, to make a long story short, I did do it, and evidently George Bush was a friend of Dingman's, and he saw some of the paintings that I had done and that they had bought. And he liked them. And so one day down in the Powers Gallery, this is so funny, a woman came in and she looked around at the artwork and she said, I think my brother would like this painting. And it was a painting I had done of the Dingman's Island. And Larry said, oh, who's your brother? And she said, well, could he see it before he buys it? And Larry said, oh, sure. Should we send it to him? Where does he live? He said he lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Yeah, Larry looked at her like, what? And we sent it. But the funny thing is, we thought he was buying it. So we sent him a bill with the painting. And of course, if you're in the White House, you get to borrow paintings from everywhere. I don't care where, any museum, anywhere. And so he liked it, and he kept it, and he sent us a picture of him in front of it. It was sweet of him to do that. And then when he left the White House with his wife, he bought it. So that was good. He knew the price because we'd priced it.
Cool. All right, well now we're going to go to open it up to questions. If anybody's got some more questions for,
So a bunch of artists here.
yeah.
Rosie.
I would love to have you tell the story. I mean, I don't know if anybody was thinking that Jane isn't that tall. These paintings are very tall. And at one point, Joe and Joey were kind of worried about you up on those ladders.
Well, I did fall from one once. And when that happened, Joey said, yeah, we got to do something.
Yeah, but then Dad constructed this wild device. He sawed a hole in the floor,
Yeah.
and then he put a crank winder thing so
Yeah.
that you could wind the painting, the top of the painting down to eye level, so you didn't have to be on a ladder
Yeah, it would
anymore.
go right through the floor. And then
So-
you could go way up, and I could do the bottom. It was really good.
Except for, I think, sometimes the rodents liked it, because they could get through
We
the
had to
floor.
get rid of it eventually.
Yeah. But that was Dad. He would definitely find unusual solutions to make things
Oh, yeah.
easier.
Yeah, he was very helpful.
That being right there, where is it? Penobscot Bay or?
This is, what is the name of that?
Hold on. I'll tell you.
I think I didn't name it. It's Penobscot Bay, but I don't know exactly where.
Is
that in the show,
I
too?
think that's
No.
Maine Island Wilderness, isn't it? Or is that Hurricane Island?
No, that's Maine Island.
Yeah, okay,
Wilderness is the
Maine
name of
Island
it. It's at the
Wilderness.
Portland Art Gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of your interior paintings remind me a bit of Matisse, and I wondered if there are artists who've influenced you.
I love Matisse. I've always liked him. Oh, there's so many artists. I can't even name them all. I like David Hockney. I love Moreau. I love, that whole group of people, Chagall, that group of, I don't know what they're called, but that Matisse, Fauves. I just loved all of them. And I have books on all of them.
And I find you were influenced by the,
What?
you think you were in.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe the colors. Just, yeah, I just loved looking at them.
Matthew Wong, too.
Well, I have two favorites now. Matthew Wong, who was from New York and did beautiful paintings and unfortunately died very young. But he's done some, anybody know him at all? He's done some wonderful landscapes that are so unusual. And they are all on rivers, like I do, and he shows, and he does birches, but he puts dots all over them, but I like that. And then he does, I just like his colors, and I like his confidence in his style. And so I've done about 5 paintings influenced by him. I only sold one, and I sold it recently. I was pretty happy, because it was a great big panel painting of, and it was in some magazine too.
Yeah.
But it was pretty colors. I didn't worry about the colors being realistic or being normal. I just made them look as pretty as I wanted, and that gave me some freedom. So I like him. And then recently I've just fallen in love with Oscar Murillo, Murillo. He's from Colombia, where we have some relatives, and he moved to New York when he was about 7 years old. So he's Colombian, but he's also a New York painter. And he is the most loving, kind person. And he goes to the schools in New York, and he brings his big canvases, and he puts the first bit of painting on them. And then he tells everyone in the school, okay, you guys from, I think, age 10 to 16, come on up and put something on my painting. And these kids, they love it. So I want to do that here. I think I would love to do that. Yeah, and so they put things on, they put doodles on, they put faces on, they put all kinds of stuff on. And then he takes the painting home, and these are big, big paintings. And he puts big splashes of paint on over some of the stuff, but some of it shows that the kids have done. And then he takes a big paint stick and he goes around like this. And then he puts dots. I love dots. Dots and dots all over. And they are beautiful paintings. They really are. And they're so loving and kind because they're full of kids' work. So I'm going to try that. And also, I love dots. And when I look at the river and the sun is out, and there are dots all over the top of the river. I'm thinking, I'm going to make a whole painting full of a dotted river. Why not? So that might be one too. Yes.
Yep.
I have a question for Jane's daughter. How's your mom influenced your career? And secondly, and more importantly, can she pick your ass in pickleball?
Oh, yes, I can now. I had a cortisone shot. I just fixed it just a few days ago. Is that who I think it is? Yes. I'm going to come out and play. Okay.
So you have influenced my work because I got to see you all these years in your studio, and you were the one that said, doesn't matter how you feel when you go into your studio, you will feel better once you've spent some time there. And so I think sometimes people think, oh, I have to feel good to start something, and I had this gift of knowing, no, you don't, you just have to show up and do it. And I think the other thing is that I really appreciate beautiful color. And not only just on a canvas or on a, you know, on some kind of substrate, but like out in the world, like look at the grass. You think at first it's green, and then you look a little more and you can see a red tinge or maybe some yellow, or just how many colors are within that create this depth of color. So I think I had a whole education without having to go to art school from learning
Emily's
how to look.
work is very, very unusual and unique, and it'll be in the show over in Wiscasset. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's so different. Nothing like my work. You know, it's her, she's feeling it here.
You speak to the balance of motherhood and art making, and did Joe make the dinner a lot?
Not so much, but when the kids were little, I had a studio, and they would come in with me to the studio, and I put up a clothesline because I was making prints at that time, and I would hang them up. Otherwise, the dog and the kids would be all over the prints. So I tried to spend my time with them. I mean, I loved having kids. I really did, and I didn't paint full time then. I painted when it was working out with them. Then when they went to school and I had that studio at the Emerson Umbrella, I started working until they got home from school. And then after that, you know, I just kept working more and more. Oh, and did Joe cook dinner? I don't think he did then,
Actually,
did he?
later he did. He actually was a really good cook.
He was eventually, but I don't think he did
Not
when you were
when we
little.
were little. You kind of had to do it then. But
well,
then,
I didn't mind, but he was working too, so he didn't have time to cook. So I didn't really paint that much when my kids were little. I was making prints, and I was afraid to paint. But after the kids grew up a little bit, I went to the museum in Boston of fine arts, and I took a lot of courses there, and I learned how to get over my fear and paint directly on canvas, but I didn't do that at first. Yes?
Jane, I was wondering, because this Talking Art in Maine is such a nice addition to our community, and it's really just a plus. And I know you started that, it's so great. So how did you get the idea to do this for us?
Well, I was on an art committee when I first moved here, and they needed somebody to get people to come and give lectures in the arts. And I said, well, I can do that. And so because I knew a lot of artists, so I would call artists and invite them up here. But artists aren't always great at lecturing. You know, it's kind of hard to do, and you know, you got to talk about your own work and all. It's much easier to listen to somebody ask you a question. So we did it for about 3 years. I got a lot of people to come up here, and then then I quit doing it because I didn't think it was working. People stopped coming, and a lot of the artists just weren't that good at it. And one night I was out. Oh, I know, it was Chats with Champions. Is that what it's called? At the library, and I thought, you know, I loved going to those, but there's a lot of artists in this community. Why don't we do something like that? So one night I was out and I saw Andrew Fenneman. We were at a cocktail party. I forget where we were, and I said, why don't we have something at the Lincoln Theater that shows artists' work. And he said, oh, what a great idea. He said, but I don't know any artists. And I said, well, I do. So I said, I want to interview them because I think it's easier for them to talk about what they do if somebody asks them questions, if they don't have to just, you know, give a lecture. So he agreed to everything, and we worked it out. And the first one we had was Sharon Corwin, who was the head of the Colby Art Museum, and she was fantastic. She was so good, and she helped me, told me what to ask and all this sort of thing. And then we kept getting people. We got Lois Dodd, who was great, and Yvonne Jacquette, and all these people. And it was really fun. I loved doing it. And then when COVID came, we couldn't do it. And so then I thought, well, I'm getting back to full-time painting. I don't think I want to do this again. I might have still been doing it if it hadn't been for COVID. But Emily's good at it. And Emily wanted to do it. After COVID went away, Christina was here, she said, well, who should we get? And I said, I don't know, who would like to do it? And Emily, she said, would Emily like to do it? And I said, I don't know, I'll ask her. And she's been great at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, maybe do 2 more questions and then we'll wrap it up.
Yes.
So,
How and where do you store all these paintings, the ones that you haven't sold?
Oh, well, they're upstairs in my house, and sometimes I've put them in storage places. And every now and then I have a sale out of my house and I'll get rid of them. But the gallery's been great. I've got a great gallery. They sell a lot of my work. So.
Your gallery is where?
My what?
Your gallery.
Gallery is in Portland. It's the Portland Art Gallery.
Oh.
And it's run by wonderful people, and they're very honest, and they're very helpful, and they're very good at selling. So I like them.
And how is it that you know about yourself?
You mean when I have a sale in my house?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, just let me know, and I'll put you on the list. Yeah.
all right.
Right-hand painter or left-hand painter?
Right. Well, sometimes I do it with my left hand just for the heck of it, but I'm a right-handed person.
All right, wait, one more in the back.
Have you ever gone back to small paintings since you have reverted to big ones?
Have I ever gone what?
Back to smaller paintings.
Smaller. Well, I might be. I mean, I'm doing some abstract ones that are pretty small. And I've been thinking as I get older, I just turned 85, I'm going to start doing some smaller because they're heavy. They're heavy, yeah. So I might do that.
Well, thank you all so much for coming tonight. This has been a real fun time to,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, thank you, Emily.
Yeah.
And thank
Yeah, thank